In today's video, we are talking about books that Trump would absolutely love if only he knew how to read. If you are new here, my name is Ryan David Ginsberg. I am an author, and on this YouTube channel, we talk about books. Sometimes we talk about the books that I have written, and other times I create book recommendations based on things that are happening politically in our nation. And with everything that has happened this past week in regards to Trump and the Epstein list, I figured that the best way to talk about it here on this channel was through books. And so without further ado, here are 10 books that I think Trump would absolutely love. Again, if only he knew how to read. The first book should be pretty obvious. It is Lolita. If you are unfamiliar about this book, the main thing that you need to know about it is that it is about an older man and his relationship with a 12-year-old girl, which of course would be something that Trump would be able to relate to. Allegedly. Because according to some people, Trump and Jeffrey Epstein had an affinity for younger girls, not women. Girls. And as an author and a lover of literature, I think it is great when a person can find representation in literature. And I think Lolita might be the perfect book for Trump to find that representation. Next up is The Empty Canvas. This book is not nearly as well known as Lolita, but it does contain some similar dynamics. For again, it is about an older man and an underage lover. But don't worry, this time she's 17, so almost legal. This time though, the man is also a failed painter, so he can find representation in another way if you catch my drift. Next up on the list we have Lord of the Flies, which is about a bunch of young kids stranded on an island. And while I do understand that all of the characters in here are boys and not girls, I think just that simple idea of kids on an island would bring back some memories of secrets with Trump. Allegedly. Plus, this will be a lot easier of a read than the other books mentioned before, for it is written more so for somebody at his level intellectually. But look, the reality is Epstein is not the only issue with Trump. And by that, I mean his alleged obsession with young girls. There are other issues regarding this person that somehow got elected president twice. Which brings me to my fourth book, American Psycho. Now, I think Trump would enjoy this book for a couple different reasons. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the book, it is about a wealthy, narcissistic businessman who is absolutely obsessed with status. I mean, the only thing that he enjoys more than status is murdering people. And I'm not saying that Trump has murdered people with his own hands, but I will say that the legislation that he has passed will absolutely murder people. And so no, while Trump has not murdered people with his own hands, he, like Patrick Bateman, is definitely, allegedly, a murderer. A narcissistic, egotistical murderer. An American Psycho. Next up on the list we have Atlas Shrugged. If you are unfamiliar with the author of Atlas Shrugged, it is Ayn Rand, who is probably the most selfish philosopher of all time. And I'm not the one accusing her of being selfish. She literally has a book called The Virtue of Selfishness, which maybe should have been the book on this list, but it's not. It is Atlas Shrugged. And it's not just because this book is filled with pure capitalistic propaganda, but also because she did so by rambling in so many words. Like, dude, we get it. We are talking over 1,000 pages of font that small. So while I am very much aware that Trump would never, ever have the attention span for this many words, if he was ever capable of finding it in him, he would definitely love this book. The next up is actually a book with his own face on it called The Art of the Deal. And I know you might be asking, wait, didn't he write that book? No, he did not. He paid somebody to write the book for him. And that ghostwriter is somebody named Tony Schwartz, who apparently in 2016 actually said that he didn't even think Trump should be president. The guy who wrote The Art of the Deal for Trump said, this dude should not be president. But we're here and that's not the point. Okay, let's move on. One of the things that Trump has always claimed himself to be very good at is making deals. And coming into the second term, he promised a lot of deals. He promised a peace deal that would end 2 wars. Both of those wars have gotten increasingly worse. He said that he was going to have 90 trade agreements in 90 days. Instead, those 90 days came and went and no deals. And so maybe if he finally read this book, maybe there's something good in there. I have no idea. I haven't read it because why would I? The 7th book on my list is the prince. Now this book, written way back in 1513, is all about how to create and acquire power, which Trump has proven time and time again to be one of the few things that he actually cares about. Everything that he does, every decision that he makes is all in the pursuit of power. And while he has so far been unsuccessful in that attempt to create this absolute power, a book like this might actually be pretty helpful. But fortunately for all of us, even this short read is going to be far too complicated for a man like Trump. Next up on my list is another book that I have not read. It is called Battlefield Earth by L. Ron Hubbard. To be honest, I don't really know anything about this book, but I do know about the author. For those who may be unfamiliar, L. Ron Hubbard is a science fiction author who also created one of the biggest cults in American history. That cult is called Scientology. And according to Google, even though this is one of his fictional books, it was written after the establishment of Scientology and has a lot to do with the religion. Essentially, it is propaganda for that religion. And apparently it has been turned into a movie produced by John Travolta, who is a Scientologist. And so while I can't really speak for the book itself, I imagine Trump would like this just for the simple fact that I imagine that someone like L. Ron Hubbard is pretty inspirational to somebody like Donald Trump, who himself is trying to build one of the biggest cults in America. And if me saying that offends you, honestly, I'm shocked that you're this far into the video already, so kudos to you for even sticking around. Next up on this list is Side Effects by Woody Allen. I don't know anything about the book, I just know that it was written by Woody Allen, and let's talk about Woody Allen, shall we? Woody Allen's current wife was once his stepdaughter. So that's weird. But what's even weirder are the comments that Donald Trump has made about his own daughter, his biological daughter, the daughter that shares DNA with him. Here are a few things that Donald Trump has said about his daughter, Ivanka. He said, "If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her." In 2004, in an interview with Howard Stern, he called her a piece of ass. On the Wendy Williams show in 2013, he said that we have sex in common. His daughter. The thing that they have in common is sex. In an interview in 2015, he said, "If I weren't married," and you know, her father, and then sort of trailed off with that thought. In 2015, literally the year that he was running for president, he said that. I also saw an incredibly disgusting video of him talking about Tiffany as a baby. Let me see if I can find the quote. Here, I'll just play the video.
Donald, what does Tiffany have of yours and what does Tiffany have of Marla's?
Well, I think that she's got a lot of moral, and she's really a beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
Daily Show.
This part he says while gesturing to his chest. He's talking about his 1-year-old baby's boobs. Boobs! His baby! Her boobs! Fucking A, dude. So, yeah, I have no idea what Woody Allen's book is about, but I do know that Woody Allen married his stepdaughter, and Trump wishes that he could marry his daughter, so I'm sure he'd enjoy that book. And then lastly on this list, let's just get this video over with. I have Mein Kampf because, obviously. But yeah, that basically ends this video. I kind of ended up making myself a little bit upset. I just cannot believe that we are at this point in our country, and it's getting harder and harder to stay focused on the things that I want to talk about because there are so many bigger things happening in the world outside of books. You know what I mean? But I will continue to try to do videos like this where at least I can merge the two together. If you like that kind of thing, make sure to hit subscribe. If you don't like this sort of thing, scroll on to the next video. I don't know what to tell you, but I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Peace out.